This little girl has been imprisoned by her own father for 7 years. In her world, there was only the airtight little house. This house was so weird. From time to time, there will be an unfamiliar woman appearing suddenly in the house. Chloe was scared and screamed continually, but her father couldn't see anything. The outside seems to be frozen by time, even the birds are at a standstill. Chloe wanted to escape from there. She saw the outside world with her own eyes through a crack in the doors. Her father hurried to stop her from seeing this. He sealed up tightly the windows and told her that the world outside was very dangerous. Be sure not to go out, and didn't let be seen by others. After waking up every day, she had to recite the virtual identity her father prepared. To avoid future accidents, her father's imprisonment behavior was abnormal. Was it really dangerous outside, or did the father have delusional persecution? Chloe saw the neighbor girl was buying her favorite ice cream today. Chloe can't stand the temptation. She continues talking, "Buy one to me, buy one to me." The next second the little girl really came over with ice cream. But the moment Chloe took the ice cream, her father suddenly came over and pulled Chloe back. He shut her into the attic and let her think about her mistakes. The next day, the father probably thought that he overdid yesterday. He apologized to Chloe and made her promise that as long as she didn't go out again. He brought her favorite ice cream. But after a while, the father came back home with a whole body of blood. He still holds a gun in his hand. There may be some danger outside. The pure Chloe didn't see her father buying ice cream. She angrily took out $100 and ran out. The father fainted. The birds outside also flew up at this time. Chloe was very happy because this was the first time she walked out of her house. Everything was so strange. The world outside was not as terrible as her father said. Even the old man who sold ice cream was very enthusiastic. He took Chloe to the park to play on the swing. He swung higher and higher. This made Chloe scared and scream. But the old man didn't mean to stop. Chloe's shouting immediately attracted the police. The police threatened the old man to leave Chloe, but the old man didn't leave. He told Chloe that the police wanted to kill him. Chloe screamed nervously, "Go away, go away." The police put down his gun and turned to leave. The old man was full of praise for Chloe, as if he was waiting for Chloe to make this trick. This family all was superpowers. The father could freeze the time, the grandfather made himself invisible in a flash, the mother could fly to the sky, which carried out carpet bombing. Chloe's superpowers were even more powerful. If she whispered softly, she could control anyone's thoughts. The old man who bought ice cream is Chloe's grandfather. Her grandfather told her, in this world, the mutants with superpowers were regarded as freaks. The government felt that freaks threat, so they decided to kill us as soon as possible. Your mother was caught by the police. She was locked up in the mutant base. Your father thought that his wife was dead, so he took you to hide. I had been looking for many years to find you. This time I want to be with you to rescue your mother. Chloe believed that her mother was still alive, but her father didn't believe that his wife was alive, so they had a big argument. Chloe saw her mother's photo, who had the same as the strange women she often saw. It turned out to be Chloe's superpower. She could reflect the people she thought through images. She maybe really missed her mother. Chloe soon fell asleep in her mother's arms. The next day, Chloe told her father that she wanted to find her mother. Her father probably thought that she was lying. He didn't agree to let Chloe go out. In desperation, Chloe used her superpower, sleep. What are you doing? Sleep. Sleep. The father fell on the ground. Chloe found her grandfather. She wanted him to help her find her mother. But he took Chloe to meet a policewoman. It was said that she wouldn't kill the children who had superpowers. Don't think that she is kind. She wanted to educate the children with superpowers. When they grew up, they would serve the government. Her trick was really amazing. Grandfather dressed up as a priest and said to policewoman that Chloe is a superpower freak he adopted. He was willing to give her to the government. The premise was that he needs to go together, because this child only listened to him. But this time, Chloe was very sensitive to the freak identity. She kept saying that she was a normal person, and said out the virtual identity that her father asked her to recite every day. At this time, the policeman seemed to find the problem and called for rescue immediately. The grandfather found her, explained to her that he was doing this to cheat Agent Ray into trust. Once entering the detention area, she could find her mother. But mutant identity was heard by a chef. The grandfather picked up the pen and stabbed the chef's eyes. The chef was coming out. The policeman shot him immediately before hearing his explanation. It turned out that bleeding of the eyes was a sign left by the mutants after they activated their superpowers. The grandfather also activated his superpowers and went out invisible. On their way home, the father, after waking up, suddenly appeared in front of the ice cream car. He said nothing, just picked up Chloe going back home. Chloe was no longer the little girl who always listened to now. She kept saying to her father, "Let me go. Let me go, let me go." Chloe was freed. She turned around and ran across the street. A car suddenly came over. It was about to hit Chloe. The father, reacting at this time, activated his superpower immediately. There was a giant bubble covering both of them. The time outside the bubble seemed to be still, but the time inside the bubble flew normally. This exactly was her father using his superpower to freeze time, let his daughter live in a giant bubble for 7 years. But the real world only passed 1 month. This can also explain why the birds outside his house were at a standstill, why the police couldn't find them. At this time, the father really worried about his daughter being caught by the police, so he took a lot of dollars and asked the neighbor to adopt his daughter. Looking at the money, the couple gladly accepted. But it hadn't passed a minute, Chloe activated her superpower again. She was trying to make neighbors love her. Tell me you love me. You gotta let her go. Tell me you love me. However, the blood in the corner of her eyes betrayed her in the next second. The neighbor drove the father and his daughter out in horror. One trouble after another, Chloe saw through the shadow that her mother is about to be euthanized by injection. Chloe wanted to go to rescue her mother. Her father finally believed that his wife was still alive, but he disagreed with his daughter to take risks. When her father and her grandfather was arguing, Chloe found out that her neighbor called the police. She projected the police's projection, seeing Chloe behaved like her grandfather and controlled the policeman's pen to poke the neighbor's eye. The neighbor was treated as a mutant and beaten into sieves. It was not over yet, then she controlled the police to kill him. The crisis was temporarily resolved. Chloe projected her mother's projection. She only saw a doctor who was about to inject the death penalty on his mother. Her grandfather and her father really worried, but they are helpless. They could only place their hopes in Chloe. Chloe firstly controlled the doctor. What are you doing? Then she controlled the security guard to unlock her mother's hand. Just then the doorbell suddenly rang. That is policewoman. There was no way. Her father could only freeze time, change the clothes and went to cope with it. But the policewoman had already investigated the details of Chloe's family. When they are talking, the grandfather suddenly went incognito behind the policewoman and picked up a gun. Suddenly, there was a gunshot, the bullet passed through the bubble and wounded Chloe's father. Her grandfather disappeared invisibly. After searching, the policewoman found Chloe on the second floor and shot her. Suddenly, there was a spread of blood in the air. Her grandfather blocked the bullet for her. Chloe was very angry at this time. She controlled the policewoman. Luckily, her father was still alive. He activated his superpower to freeze the time outside, then he used a few bullets left to solve some policemen. This directly touched the nerves of the police, directly launched the missiles. Chloe controlled the guards and let them kill each other, removed all the obstacles for the mother. Chloe fainted from exhaustion without opening the last door. Chloe heard her mother shouting when she was in a coma. Chloe woke up again. Everyone was under control by her roar. The gate of the base was opened, the mother escaped. She was going to fly to the sky to come to her daughter. At this time, there were only 5 seconds left before the missile arrived. The weak father tried his best to freeze the time to rescue his daughter. Unfortunately, he was bombed by a missile. When the soldiers came, the mother suddenly fell down from the sky. The mother and her daughter were finally reunited. She was so sad when she saw the dead husband and father. She flew to the sky with her surviving daughter. The plot of the film has always been forbearing in terms of superpowers. It makes you feel that something is so abnormal. Until the second half of the film, superpowers were gradually revealed to the audience, such as brainwave controlling, real scene projection, teleportation, time freezing, invisibility, flying, etc. It makes people feel so addictive. I am Harry. Thanks for watching.